former director of school construction for the state, will be taking the stand in his federal bribery trial. Costa Diamantis is accused of stealing thousands of your tax dollars in bribes and kickbacks. Your reporter Taylor Knight live in Bridgeport with what we can expect today in court. Taylor.
Well, Kate, from the first day of this trial, Diamantis has suggested that he could take the stand, and today that is finally expected to happen inside this courthouse here in Bridgeport. Diamantis is facing 22 federal counts, including bribery, extortion, conspiracy, and making false statements to investigators. Diamantis is accused of steering no-bid contracts to help himself and his family while he oversaw school construction across Connecticut between 2018 and 2021. Prosecutors say Diamantis took tens of thousands of dollars in bribes during his time with the Lamont administration. One witness said that Diamantis told him he was using that money to pay for his daughter's tuition and wedding. In total, prosecutors say there were 4 school construction projects that Diamantis was involved in, including Weaver High School in Hartford. Diamantis has pled not guilty to all of the charges against him. Your chief political reporter, Susan Raff, will be in the courtroom when he testifies today. We will have the latest on air and online at WFSB.com. Your reporter live in Bridgeport, Taylor Knight, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
All right, Taylor, thank you.